This week on the audio podcast, episode 78, RPM and CTL, Adam Yanch returns. Woohoo! Scott's here, Sam's here. We have guests, Mark Towers and Julien Bayle, to talk about creative technology live. There's news, there's other, and also there's plunder. All this and more on this week's The Audio Podcast. Calm down there. It's Monday the 12th of November. That makes it audio podcast time. Woo! Hey! Fantastic stuff. I'm Scott Hewitt. As always, I'm joined by
Samuel Freeman. Hello. We also have the return of the Adam Yanch.
Hello, hello. It's been a few weeks, but I am back in non-visual form.
And as well as Adam, we have two guests. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, that'd be fantastic.
I'm Mark Towers. I'm a certified Ableton trainer. Just on the show to talk about the upcoming event.
Hello, I'm Julien Bayle from France, as you can listen my Frenchy accent. And I am an Ableton certified trainer too. And I'll drive a workshop about visuals and music and sounds.
Awesome.
Hello.
Awesome stuff. So if we get straight to it, when we have guests, we like to get straight to it with them and then to not take up too much of their evening. But the reason you guys have joined us is to just tell us a little bit more about Creative Technology Live, which the audio podcast is kind of covering. Now that's in Leicester on November the 24th.
That's right.
And could you tell us a little bit about the event? Who would it be of interest to? What's it about? What's the purpose of it?
Okay, the event is for anyone who's interested in not just in Ableton Live, but in music production, live performance. So it ranges from people just getting into it, who are possibly looking at getting into making music, performing, but also people who are already using it. So there's workshops ranging from intro to intermediate, right through to advanced stuff. Anyone who's got an interest in that kind of field, really.
Awesome stuff. And is this the first time that the kind of conference, the events happened?
For the Ableton, it is. Where we did one. Well, Sean, who's out running it with me, did one last year, which was same thing but for Max MSP, which was very successful. So this is a very similar format, but focusing on Ableton Live with bits of Max MSP and Max for Live thrown in as well.
Awesome, so cool. So could you say a little bit more about the kind of workshops that are available then? What kind of topics are going to be covered?
Okay, we've got around 6 Ableton trainers coming. Julien being one of them. Myself, I'm doing a workshop on synthesis and sound design. We've got people doing stuff like how to make your own drum racks. Some doing a more introduction into Ableton, like how to actually get started, how it all works. And then people are doing like live stuff as well, integrating it with visuals. And then Julien, maybe you want to talk about your workshop?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about my own creation and my own work about visuals and sounds. And I'd like to introduce some projects I'm currently making and designing about soundscapes on a part and on another part, all things related to visuals. And I'd like to explain a little bit more about my own design, how I can link sounds and visuals, and I am in my first part of artistic research about visuals driven by sounds, and probably I will work about the opposite way in the future. And I'd like to talk about Max MSP and Max for Live, and how I can grab some data from music and sounds, and how I can use those data to alter visuals and create visuals. So this will be about that, and yeah, I guess we'll have fun.
Sounds very sounds very interesting there. Sorry, Sam. I thought you had a question or something. So I was.
Sorry, I did, but I also Anyway, I'll save. Well, I just opened one of the links. So I was still kind of like reading ahead, and it made a big noise in my head. Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah, I think I'm seeing it. What? Bayle, I quit.
Sam, that was terrible. That was the worst moment in the world. That was truly terrible. So I'm gonna quickly, if I quickly run through some of the more practical bits. So it's down in Leicester, November the 24th.
Yeah.
It's £10 for a full ticket, £8 for a concession. Am I right? I'm right in thinking that you can attend 3 workshops as well.
You can, yeah. If you go onto the website, I think you're going to have the link up at some point. There's a page for workshops, and there's quite a lot, and we're still adding some as we go. How the day works out, we're still working on the timetable, but once you get a ticket, you'll be able to pick which workshops you want to do. So we've actually got 4 venues really that we're working with. So there'll be 3 or 4 workshops going on at a given time. So you'll get to go to 3 or 4 workshops throughout the day. Plus, there's lots of drop-in things in between. Like we're trying to set up a bit of a clinic, so people who are already using Ableton can come along and chat to a trainer, get a bit of feedback on something. So there'll be a room with some computers where people can come and try stuff out, and just get a bit of a networking community type event on the go.
Excellent stuff. That sounds really interesting, really exciting. I do a lot of work with Max and with Live, so I guess
Cool.
I know both parts of it very well, and I think it's nice for there to be an event like this, and I know it's something that I've recommended some of my students that they might want to go and check out pretty soon as well. So unless there's a kind of a sensible place to get to, it's in the middle of the country, so
Yeah.
everybody who's in the north of England, this isn't a trip to London, so there's no excuse.
No.
Yeah, I'm coming from France.
Precisely.
Myself.
That's commitment. That is definitely commitment there. So the workshops look interesting there. There's some great titles that are certainly of interest to me as well, and I think it'd be of interest to other people as well. So am I right in thinking is it mainly hosted at the Phoenix Center again, or
Yeah.
who are the venues that you're working with on this one?
Okay, so there's the Phoenix, which is our base, and they've got some really lovely like digital cinema screens and a really nice cafe. So we're using that as the base. We've got a new venue called HQ, which is everything's based around what's called now the Cultural Quarter in Leicester. So everything's within like 5 minutes of each other. So we've got HQ Galleries, which is a new community project studio and gallery, so we'll be in there during the day as well. And then we're also a similar venue called Pedestrian, and they're all within like a couple of minutes of each other. Something else we're doing, which we've not put on the website yet, is at the end of the day we're going to be doing like an event, like a jam at the HQ gallery. So everyone will end there. People will be encouraged to either, if they want to bring a laptop and have a jam, we'll have some of the trainers and some of the local musicians having a bit of a jam and making some noise as well, which would be a nice way to end the day.
Excellent stuff. Now that sounds like a really great kind of trip out, and it is just a single day, isn't it, as well? So
It is, yeah.
So I guess just I feel we've covered most of the kind of territory about it. I see that Ableton and Focusrite are kind of supporting it, as well as the Arts Council and a few other kind of names. So it's really cool that you've got there's some support there as well. So I guess just the final bit is what time does it start?
That's a very good question.
Because it doesn't say.
We're doing the timetable still. I'd say it's going to start at 9, but the first workshop probably won't start till 10. So we envisage we'll need about an hour to get everyone in and do registration. So I'd aim to be starting at 9, and first workshop at 10.
Awesome stuff.
I could be wrong.
You heard it here first without any guarantee of it being correct. It's the story of the audio podcast. The audio podcast. I know that I'm going to be there. I don't know however, whether Sam and Adam are or not, or we still haven't worked that out. But we'll be down there, and hopefully we'll be doing some recordings and doing some interviews with people as well. I don't think we're going to play any games like last time. Are we going to play any games, Sam?
We haven't worked on it yet, have we? So
No.
this time that we might put some together at the last minute, but it's...
No. It doesn't lean itself to the famous Max Objects Pictionary charades that we played last year. Maybe it does. Maybe we could just play that again as Max for Life card might be there. That could be...
Maybe we could make it as a Max for Life object, which to play the game in live. I don't know. That's a really bad idea.
Oh no, I'll have a think. I'll see if there's a little puzzle. We can have a little. We could see if we can have a little game or something like that, which would be fun. And we're obviously have our special the week after from that. So and no, I guess the final thing maybe is there just if people are interested in the kind of things that you're doing personally and stuff like that, is there a place that they could go and find out a little bit more about it, or Julien, if they're interested in seeing the kind of work that that you're involved in directly for the kind of workshops that you're running, is there some places you would maybe suggest they could go and see?
I'm sorry, I guess I missed something.
Is there just if people are interested in yourselves and the kind of work you're going to be showcasing at the in the kind of workshops, is there a link they can go and check out online or something like that?
Yeah, I can provide you some links and maybe about my website or some example. I guess I will put my my slideshows on the web after the workshop, in order to maybe to dig a little bit more with people who would like to do that.
Yeah. And Mark, for yourself, is there anywhere that people can go if they want to see?
Yeah, sure. There's a website. I can send you the link if that's how we do it.
Yeah, but you can say what it is. That's
okay. Just marktowers.net.
Excellent stuff. Cool.
Yeah, there's links on there to other things.
Fantastic stuff. We'll put all the links up at theaudiopodcast.co.uk in beside this show 78, so they're there, so you don't need to try and quickly write them or type them down or decipher them. You can just go click on them later on. So that's nice and easy. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I don't have any questions. I'm aware that Adam Yach has been silent, so perhaps he has no questions as well, or maybe he does. Sam, did you recover your question?
No. I think no, I didn't. I will try it again. There we go. No, I did not.
Excellent stuff. In which case, guys, thank you very much for making the time to come and speak to us about Creative Technology Live in Leicester on November the 24th. The audio podcast is going to be there, and we think everybody else should be there, otherwise they are square. And a square without rounded edges, which is a very Max joke, but nonetheless is solid. It's cool. We're going to head into the news. If you guys want to hang around, you're more than welcome to. If you want to bail out, then feel free to bail out at your leisure, as they say.
Okay.
But so this is the audio podcast news. It's news, Sam.
It is. Well, for the first news item, there's a good link because that was a conferencey thing coming up, and here's a conferencey thing gone by. This is the Producers Conference, which is the Propellerhead Reason thing that's been on tour. We mentioned it last week, or perhaps the week before. And they've put up some videos from the Berlin session. And so I think there's four videos there. There's Make Music Now, Not Later Masterclass, a mixing workshop, rack extensions masterclass, and a genre-specific sound design masterclass. Yes, there's about 2.5 hours of video there if you're interested in such Reason-y Propellerhead stuff.
Fantastic, thanks. We have a two-part Apple story today, but let's do the first one, which is the adapters, and then we'll ask Adam about Apple. But first of all, in the world of adapters, after the Lightning adapter appearing, there is now a 30-pin adapter for the Lightning, which is just fantastic. I'm saying these long-lost, bizarre, obscure Apple-only required.
I'm getting mixed up. I thought this was going to be a Thunderbolt.
No.
Story, not a. Okay, Lightning being the one that connects up to an iPhone.
Yes.
A new iPhone.
And a Mac Mini, yes.
I wish they'd separated the names. I wish they'd separated the names. It's like Lightning and Thunderbolt are from the same conceptual thing. They're just the sound and the light version. Couldn't they have used a different thing to separate these two connectors? Because they're completely independent from each other. when you actually...
They're both Apple and they're both new at this time, you know, so people will say, remember when the Thunder and the Lightning things?
Nah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but the Thunderbolt is more like USB. It's like something a bit more open. You know, other people are going to make Thunderbolt things.
Bizarrely, Adam, as you say that it's like USB, apparently the Lightning adapter is USB 2. That's actually what it is.
Only USB 2 though, it's not even USB 3.
Yeah, apparently that's actually what it is. So while there's a couple of extra pins on it, it's nonetheless essentially a USB 2 connector. Which I thought was kind of sad. How cool would it have been with like a Thunderbolt adapter on your iPhone? That would have shifted a lot of 50-quid cables, wouldn't it?
Nah.
Cynicism piling in there, actually. So, while that is you know, that is an adapter for in my opinion, an overpriced phone. Adam, you made an Apple purchase this week.
I did. Yes. No, not this week. But in the time I've been offline, yes, I did, and it was a direct result, or maybe not a direct result, an indirect result, my choice of a audio podcast recommendation, I suppose. I think you recommended
Apple. We've been recommending Apple products, really?
Well, I think you recommended one Apple product over another Apple product, so I'm not sure if it counts so easily. No, I'm now the owner of a Mini, having realised that my screenless MacBook from 2006 was gasping heavily whenever I was using it. I realised that a new computer was much required, and then of course you guys were talking about because of course they.
I remember recommending that now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys said, well, don't forget the Mac Mini's still got a FireWire port on it, because the new iMacs have been completely re-architected from the inside. They've obviously dropped the FireWire port, and it's just Thunderbolt and USB. So these new iMacs are the perfect transition computer at the moment.
I remember when I mentioned that, because I said that that was something I'm interested in. So if how much are they? Because I didn't look up. How much are they in the UK?
The one I went for is the quad core. I think it's quad core i7, which is the middle base model. Okay. £679. But you can also, of course, get a student discount if you're a student, and they can upgrade the memory, the RAM, in store. It's not soldered in, so that's an upgrade you can do in store. But you can also get more upgrade possibilities on that online system. So you can go up to like a 2.7 gig quad core, and you can get an SSD or a Fusion drive or all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, a decent little machine, and I haven't really taxed it at all yet on using Logic. So, it's got plenty more processor power than my old machine.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you, the audio podcast.
I actually just recommended as a piece of consultancy to a client to get a Mac Mini, put it in a pair of rack ears, and then with a half size rack, and then to match that up with an ultralight, a Mark III ultralight, as a kind of digital mixer and recording. As a digital mixer and a recording solution, because you could drive it, remote desktop it, use Touch OSC to drive the digital mixer part of it, and then remote desktop in to drive some audio session and actually record the audio coming in off the channels. And then you can do 8-channel recording plus 8x8 mixing with the ultralight, and have that in a small compact package. Probably the biggest problem I've had with this little computer is that it doesn't have grippy feet on the bottom. So if you put it on a desk, it doesn't really sit. It'll slide very easily on the desk. That's the biggest problem I've had with it, and which isn't very big. And it probably doesn't have a lot of weight to it. They're not particularly heavy, are they? So no. I mean, because it's just like a laptop.
in a small box without screen. So yeah, I mean it's not very heavy, so it doesn't have much weight to keep it planted, but it also doesn't have like grippy feet on the bottom to keep it kind of stuck in that position. So mounting it in a rack might be difficult. Depends how you're going to fasten it onto
Oh no, there's
a tray or something.
There are rack mounting kits available.
Oh, especially for
yeah.
For those. Oh, very nice.
So you can
put rack mounting kits link on the show notes at the audiopodcast.co.uk/0/78, which is where listeners can find all of the notes pertaining to today's show.
Fantastic.
Now, I have to admit that during the interview, I've been feeling a bit tired today, and I've got a little bit of a headache. So I've moved on to the sofa. So I'm now lying on my sofa, and I can't see my screen. So I don't know what's next.
Well, I was actually going to jump in because I actually bought something yesterday.
Oh.
I bought, and now this is a great tip. No, this is a great tip for any UK listeners right now. Yesterday in Comet, I got a 22-inch 1080p TV set for £61.
Is that any good?
Courtesy. Oh yeah, no, it's a proper top spec TV, courtesy of the Comet fire sale, which is ongoing in a very controlled way. So it's worth checking out Comet every now and again for a discount on discount TV set if your local store is actually a closing one. So I just, there you go. Anyway, for those people who are actually more interested in audio stuff rather than our discussion of buying things, the next story, Sam, you put this up here. I'll let you take the lead. Is on Ardor 3.
Okay, yep. So Ardor 3 is not being released just yet, but there is a definitive and well-explained plan as to when it will be, in terms of that being when stuff's ready. It's posted by Paul, who we interviewed about a year ago.
Way of saying that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going for journalism of the year or something. So there's different ways. Oh, thanks for that, Adam. I was talking.
Okay, so first of all,
you're so bright today.
so the bit that we missed, Sam, that I think was very important is the fact that we did speak to Paul Davis in show 31 of the audio podcast. So people can go to, if they want to know more about the Ardor project, they can give a listen to show 31 and find out. And we interview Paul all about the Ardor project, and we make our pet complaints about it. So this isn't a release. This isn't a release announcement. This is more an announcement of the identification of the things that need to be resolved that would be part of Ardor 3.
That's it. They'd like to release it right now. They've done lots of good work on it, and things are on pause a lot, but they're waiting specifically for the automation curves to work properly and the import or 2.x sessions to be sufficiently functional.
Is that a roadmap, effectively?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a roadmap for version 3 release.
That's it, yep. So once those two things are done, they will release it for Linux, at which point they will also make a OS X beta available, and then other stuff will happen in due course or whatever, I'm sure.
And
yep.
Because Ardor is our favorite open source software, which is really awkward to work with, and especially install on your computer. I think that's our main. That was our summary outcome of it last time we did it. Yeah. There we go.
But on the side of that, and I wouldn't have mentioned this on its own, but seeing as I just posted, or I was in the process of posting that story, and I split this one all, they have within Ardor 3, which you can now get as beta, I suppose, it seems to be the case. I guess that's for Linux, though. They've implemented LTC, linear timecode, and MIDI timecode sync to a higher degree than ever before, so that you can now get zero latency repeating timecode and such like through Jack. Yeah, so
I thought that LTC stood for longitudinal timecode. Is this the thing you used to sync up video?
Yeah, I mean it's described as linear. Linear
maybe it's a different kind of timecode. I'm sure there's a longitudinal timecode as well. Is also maybe that's LITC. I don't know. I'm getting mixed up with my with my synchronization standards. Oh, standards at the audio podcast are slipping. Oh no.
So
This, your time code will not slip. That's what they're saying. Your sync will stay tight.
So moving
Good
from
for Ardor.
Ardor at one end of the DAW spectrum, did any of you guys see that Jam was released by Google?
Yeah. That's what made a big loud noise in my ears when I clicked the link, and I didn't know where it was because it was opening in the background. And yes, anyway, hopefully we'll edit that bit out.
So Jam is a Google Chrome experiment, which means that it doesn't even qualify for the beta sticker. It's kind of
It's alpha.
Pre-beta alpha. Well, no, it's not even alpha. It's experiment is the phrase they use, isn't it?
I see.
And it is a cloud-based GarageBand-esque app that allows you to play with your friends remotely and locally.
Ooh.
Woo!
Look at that.
Music live with friends.
There's 19 different instruments, and you can use them in either easy or pro mode. I thought that was nice.
Wow.
Okay, so I've got this open here in Chrome, and if I press enter, is it going to is my computer going to blow up or
Well,
not?
every time I tried to load it, it just crashed actually. So,
Oh, okay.
so maybe be careful doing that.
Wow. So an online sequencer, or DAW. There's an interesting idea. Now, I wonder if Apple are going to try and make an online version of GarageBand. Probably not. I don't know if they've got the web infrastructure, the internet infrastructure to do that. I think they're happy enough doing iCloud for the moment.
You could always ask Siri about that, but maybe have to wait a while for an answer.
No, I can't. I don't have a device that has that.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I don't mind. I can find stuff.
So if you want to play with Jam, then you need a up-to-date version of Chrome, and then you can go check it out online. The link is in the show notes at the audio podcast /show/78. And don't forget that you can enjoy the instruments in easy or pro mode. Though pro mode should have been called hero mode. That would have been much better.
I thought that, when you said the other end of the DAW spectrum that you were going to talk about Master Tracks Pro, but maybe we should move on and not talk about Master Tracks Pro.
Well,
okay, instead let's talk about SoundForge Pro for Mac.
Look at that.
You got to get the name right, Sam, because that was actually the bit that distracted me most about this entire article. SoundForge Pro Mac.
Oh,
when
yeah,
I
it's
saw
not
it,
for
I
Mac,
thought Mac
it's
Pro.
Mac.
Yeah, I thought when I saw that, I wondered if it was supposed to say Mac Pro.
SoundForge Pro Mac. That's the name. It's ridiculous. What a stupid name.
And they've got capital letters at the beginning of the word SoundForge and Pro, and the word Mac is all in caps. So maybe it's SoundForge Pro MAC.
Oh, maybe.
As in Mac, as in the codes that every single wired or wireless internet device has that differentiates it from every other one in the world. The MAC address.
The MAC address. It just makes no sense. Like, just call it sound. Well, I guess it's because the feature set for the Mac version and the PC version is different, and hence they feel the need to provide some differentiation between them. Maybe. The purpose of this story, anyway, but the purpose of the reason this is here is not just so I can complain about the name. No, I'm glad to have the opportunity to do that because I do enjoy it. Is actually because Designing Sound have done a full and complete review of SoundForge Pro Mac, and I thought people might be interested. If you're reeling from the loss of BioSpeak, then this might be of interest. You might want to go check it out. The review highlight, in case you should go check out the proper review, but I like to grab the highlights. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. The review highlight: perhaps one day SoundForge Pro Mac will catch up and be a viable tool in their workflow. Unfortunately, that day is not here yet. Which I thought.
I wonder if that's slightly biased, not BioSpeak biased, but actually biased.
I think it might have something to do with the screenshot of the crash report window with the caption, "I saw this box a lot during my review."
Well, that's going to sway readers one way or another, that's for sure.
Oh, well, there you go. But, you see, I think that's a valid comment, actually, because if you send out buggy software, then you got to figure that people are going to review it and then remark on it being buggy. So that's all there is to it. You can't. That's not a, it's a valid reason, isn't it? If you were to review a piece, we've reviewed software on the audio podcast, and if it was, and listeners, you can be certain that if it crashed and made a mess of things, we would let you know. Even if it crashed just once, we'd probably mention it, because that's in an audio, from an audio point of view, that's a really important thing to not happen. You don't want your audio to crash. You don't want it to break. You don't want those kind of problems to happen.
Well, Scott, let me ask everyone this question. So, SoundForge Pro Mac 4 Mac Pro doesn't seem to be quite there yet. So, which audio editor would you recommend for the listeners?
Oh, wowzers.
I'm going to put my hand up straight away and say it's a nice simple package. You might not be able to do everything with it, but I'm going to put my hand up and say Twisted Wave, which you can get on the Mac App Store.
You've mentioned that before, and I've not checked it out, but I just use Audacity. But sometimes, if I need to do more digital audio workstation-y stuff, sometimes I'll use Cubase, because I have Cubase Artist or whatever the one that came with a piece of hardware I brought is, and if I need to do something more involved, I'm fast in there. Whereas if I'm just doing simple stuff, Audacity's 9 times out of 10 what I'll use.
I also I use Audacity a lot, and the reason I use Audacity a lot is because of the fact that I can move it between my Macs and my Linux boxes, my Linux computers. I can do an install, do some work, shift it onto one of the other boxes, and go somewhere else and work with it there, and I don't have to, It's one of the only applications that allows me to work on both platforms, and I work on Linux as much as I work on Mac now. That's part of the kind of process I'm involved in. So
there you go. So that's 2 votes for Audacity, 1 vote for Twisted Wave. But remember, there are plenty of audio editors out there. Why not let us know here at the Audio Podcast what your preferred choice is? You can actually catch the Audio Podcast on Twitter. The Audio Podcast is the name of the @thingymabob. You can catch us on Google+, and you can also go to the show notes, and there's probably like an email link or something. Does the Audio Podcast have an email link, Scott and Sam?
We do, but it's much better to send us it via Twitter.
Well, yeah, I like Twitter.
I do too.
So I've done... This is where you can find all of the audio podcast on the greater internet malarkey, so we can go on to the next item now.
Well, you know what the next item is?
Well, what it would have been, if not I'd added that draft that you said about. But we can skip that. I know it would have been a beautiful link. We'll go back and let's pretend that this didn't happen, but I will mention it because it is there in the show notes now, which is the Audio Developer Challenge 2012. So it's the 4th one of these competitions that KVR have launched, and voting is now open. And there's a whole load of apps that people have made, and some of them are plugins, some of them are soundware, most of them are Windows, some of them are Mac, and yeah, you can look for which you think is the best, and you can also donate to the prize fund. Cool. So there you go. Lots of free audio software to try out, all of which want you to vote for them.
Whee.
So, moving into our incredibly creatively named other section, it's time for This Week on Twitter.
Woo! Okay. So in the last 40 minutes, it's going to be a long show. Since I loaded the page, there have been only 8 new tweets on the Twitter feed. I loaded the window, and I'll look at what they are.
So this is the moment where we go down the Audio Podcast Twitter feed and just remark blindly on things that are of interest to us there. So if you want to ever, sneak your way onto the show in some capacity, this is the easiest way to do it. You just throw something at us, and we're almost certainly look at it.
Have I tweeted anything good?
I haven't found it yet. Looking.
That basically.
Well, so we have to go. We start it now and go back in and get bored at about 12 hours ago or something,
So Alan and Heath have more details about their GLD digital mixing system. Woo!
Yay!
Yay!
There's a crunk baseline tutorial apparently.
That's fantastic.
That.
The Crash Ensemble reminds, for those people who are localised around the Huddersfield area where I used to live, that the HCMF starts this week.
Oh, I graduate this week. Yay! That's not actually on a tweet. I just it happens at graduation at Huddersfield. Happens just before HMS starts.
Cool. Gokul, I guess at Gokul ABHI was actually at the producers' conference.
Yay! Was that the one that you mentioned at the beginning of the show?
Yes, he didn't sit through the conference. He sat through the video of the conference. That's fantastic.
What, in the time that we've been on air? That's amazing.
Well, he's tweeted the fact that he has done that. I've retweeted it because, you know, that's what we do. That's what we do. What else? How are we doing here?
Adam Banch says to me, no one in particular.
Oh, yeah. That's related to a Twitter tweet that I quote.
Fantastic. Oh, here, how about this? Here's a neat trick from PureMix. PureMix Online, a Pro Tools tip if you need to clean your tom tracks. I like that. So, that is a really neat trick, actually. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm just going to retweet it. There we go. Oh, that's only an hour past. I'm going a bit fast enough.
It's been a whole week since the last audio podcast.
I know, but we can't do it all.
Maybe you should have a look at the feed during the week, and you know.
Well, this started as a Tuesday on Twitter or something was the first time because
Tuesday on Twitter.
Or Twitter on Tuesday or something. I don't know what it was.
Cycling74 are tweeting a link which is about a MIDI and OSC mapper. That's something that's really relevant to a project that I'm currently working on. So
I used Max a bit last week as well. There you go. Oh.
Presonists are happy that Music Radar have described Studio One as becoming their weapon of choice for remixes.
Very good.
Choice. Like that.
Wasn't that's the name of a Fatboy Slim tune, is it not? With Christopher Walken in the video.
Ah, that's a good video.
Yeah, that's a good video.
Ableton, as we were talking about live earlier on, Ableton are linking to, are retweeting a link to a custom Ableton live pack, so that's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Some stuff. That's cool. Hey, I think I just got a remark.
The internet holds its breath.
Oh, Adam Staff. Yeah, we've had a quick. I'm going to read it. Why not? We got it here. Adam Staff has joined in. He would suggest to us that for a quick edit, Audition opens and runs really fast, but for some more in-depth stuff, then the modes and shortcuts of Pro Tools win. Thank you very much for that, Adam.
I was wondering whether Audition might get mentioned because I think it's come on quite a bit since it was reintroduced on the Mac platform or introduced on the Mac platform.
I actually really like Audition. I always have done. I think it's pretty usable actually. Usable, easy. Yeah, I've always liked it actually. And it converts from anything to anything pretty much. You can just drag a bit of audio onto it and drop it there, and it'll just convert it in the background to whatever it needs to be. I thought that was cool.
And the comment about using the modes and shortcuts of Pro Tools. I mean, Pro Tools have good shortcuts for everything, but it's the same as my comment of, you know, when you want to do something more involved, then you need the thing that you know the best in terms of that. So for me, that's Cubase because of all the shortcuts and whatnot.
Fantastic.
Now, before we move on to the final section of the show, can I just add something to other, which is a feature request for the notes on the website. Can you make it so it automatically updates?
What do you mean?
Because every week we have the same problem, which is that somebody doesn't update the notes after they've been edited because they get edited the most just before the show starts. So if they could be automatically updated using probably Ajax or something like that, that would be sorted.
Adam, that is unlikely to ever happen until a new version of the site appears. But thank you very much for your request.
So remember your Apple R, or I don't know what it is for Windows, Control R, to refresh your Windows. Now,
F5,
is it time?
F5 on Windows.
Is it F5? Is it time for the last section of the show?
It is time for a single item of plunder.
Arr. Fantastic.
Which single item? There's two here.
Yeah, so Sam, you may choose one of them, and the other one I'm pushing back to next week because we've had a fairly long show.
Okay, we'll go with first one, which is the Rode sound booth, which is it's very interesting looking. I had a look around. So Rode have a multi-click thing where you select what type of thing you're doing, what microphone, and you get to hear the same bit of audio recorded through different microphones. Does that make sense?
Yippee!
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I thought it worked really well. I liked it as a, you know.
I think I was having memory issues when I did it. It was going slow and wasn't really.
The only Rode mics though that
yes
are on it.
Not surprisingly, Rode are only demonstrating their own microphone.
Well, just asking because of course there are lots of other mics out there that people would want to listen to, and maybe they're thinking more wide. Yes, I know it's a silly question, but there you go.
That would be a fantastic website if there was a website which had, you know, that kind of thing like that. But alas, it does not exist. This is the Rode sound booth featuring only Rode microphones.
We could make that. We could make that site.
Yeah, why not? We could have the audio podcast sound microphone recording library.
So what we do is we ask all the microphone manufacturers to send us all their examples of all their microphones, and then we go from there. Is that how it works?
No, better idea. We could ask all our listeners who have microphones to record something for us.
No, you can't do it that way.
Why not?
Well, it has to be. Yeah, you have to do it like a scientific experiment. So you'd have to ask the manufacturers if you could borrow a microphone of each of their microphones, or borrow microphones from people who have those microphones and do it all in a set scientific system. Otherwise,
in the same room and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
They could all do it in their bedrooms. That's in the same room.
On a high conceptual level, yes. Anyway, I think the listeners are smart enough to realise the problem with not doing it in the same setting.
Fair enough, Adam. Fair enough.
It's a good idea, anyway. It's always something to do for a weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, why not? So it's a nice little project.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Excellent stuff. Well, I feel we've made it to the end of the plunder, which means we have made it, alas, to the end of this week's The Audio Podcast.
No.
Show number 78.
No.
RPM and CTL. Adam Jansch is barely able to console himself with the emotions.
Let's talk for another 5 minutes about anything. No.
Samuel Freeman. It's great. Is here. I wasn't sure what to say. You're wearing some lovely headphones. I like the way they're white like my headphones. That's cool.
Yeah, we both always wear these headphones, and I think it's because I'm sitting in front of something brown. They show up more today.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Oh, have we played Guess Where Sam Is? The Sam background challenge today. That's what we can do now.
Yeah, where's Sam this week? This week I'm in Warrington. I'm in a different house in Warrington. I've been in Warrington before, but I'm in a different place today.
So you're not in a random utility box somewhere.
No, I'm not squatting in the university library or anything like I have done in the past.
Or
I
an
missed
industrial
those.
substation. For anybody who's managed to make it this far at the end of the show, I've been Scott here. The Audio Podcast will be back next Monday, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.